Hey guys, got another batch of AITA stories for you. This time we have 4 of them. The first is about a sister who isn't so great. The second is about a friend who wanted a kidney. The third is about diabetes. And the fourth and last one is about some crappy in-laws. But without further ado, let's get into it. So, my sister had a baby die of SIDS 6 years ago. I tried to support her in all the ways that I could, and she's now in a support group with other mothers who have also lost their babies, and is getting better, and thinking about possibly having or adopting another kid. My other sister just had her first baby 3 months ago. All throughout her pregnancy, and even now while the baby is still alive, Julie keeps bringing up the fact that the baby could die of SIDS. Like, she'll say crap like, "Don't get too attached, you never know." And I had my first kid before everything that happened to Julie, and I still had a fear of SIDS, or the fear of something that may just go wrong in general. But Ashley is really getting freaked out. My family is podding together, so Julie and I were at Ashley's house yesterday trying to help out with the baby, and Julie kept freaking her out and mentioning SIDS to the point where Ashley started crying and saying, "I really just want her to be okay." So I took her into the other room and tried to calm her down by saying that her baby wasn't going to die. But Julie kept yelling in from the other room, "You never know." So I was really annoyed, and when we went upstairs, I asked her if she could maybe discuss this with a therapist, or her support group, or even her husband. She just kept saying, "I don't want to give Ashley false hope," and things like that. So I asked her if she could just please stop bringing up the idea of her baby dying in front of Ashley. She got very annoyed and left suddenly. She hasn't said anything to me or anyone else since yesterday. I understand that this is probably triggering for her, but it's not Ashley's job to deal with that, especially when she has a newborn, and I don't know how to help her, so I feel like suggesting that she talk to people who do know how to help isn't that bad, but I do feel kind of like a jerk for telling her to stop bringing it up. AITA. Well, no, NTA. The sister is definitely a butt munch though. Just because your baby died doesn't give you a pass to just be a frickin' jerk or a smarmy know-it-all and constantly tormenting your sibling that her baby might die too. That's not okay. That really isn't. I don't know if Julie really needs therapy, or if she just needs a good smack on the head. Alright guys, that's the end of the first story. Let's move on to the second. Hi, I think I may have gotten this really wrong and broke up our friendship, and I don't know how to make it better. Last year, my best friend's husband needed a kidney transplant. My best friend was going to donate, but at the last minute, was rejected for medical reasons. So they asked me to donate, and at this particular point, I was a single parent of 3 children, a 7 and a 5-year-old, as well as an infant. And I was in a very new relationship, so I couldn't rely on anyone to look after the kids whilst I was laid up. I did really give it some thought. I spoke to my new partner about it, and I considered the children and my life circumstances. It got really pressured whilst I was making my decision, her asking me what my decision was, details of the pros and cons, word-for-word conversations with my partner, and literal begging. The pressure also got too much for me, and I realized I couldn't manage that pressure for the months, whilst the test would be ongoing and the invasion of my life and privacy. And I let her down. 17 years of friendship and she hasn't talked to me since I said no. But her husband was given a kidney, and is back to good health, so I'm at a loss. Was I an awful friend? Well, I can see why the friend would be a wee bit upset at this, but it ultimately is not your friend's obligation to donate any of their organs for you or anyone else that you care about. So, no, NTA, but I will definitely say that this is a sucky situation. And one of the reasons why she might not be talking to the OP anymore is she might actually be feeling a little bit of guilt now, although I don't know. I'd also like to bring a little bit of attention to 2 different comments that I saw. One of them is by Skyline Byline, who just mentions that if you find yourself in a similar situation, you should be able to meet with the doctors about getting tested and telling them that you're not comfortable with donating. They will apparently report that you aren't a match, and they're required by law to ensure that the donors are not being coerced, and to keep the reason why you're not a match confidential. And the second comment by a guy named Cypria. His comment just summarizes the fact that he is apparently a kidney doctor, and the fact that you can apparently live for quite a few years actually on just dialysis, even if you don't have any kidneys. And to emphasize that point, apparently you can live up to 40 or more years while on dialysis, which is a lot more than what I thought was possible with dialysis. I thought that was maybe, a few months, maybe a couple of years for time or something, not what is effectively half of your lifespan. That's quite amazing, actually. That's the end of the second story. Now we're on to our third one. I enjoy my job and have two co-workers, Megan and a new co-worker, James, who just started. The three of us have our own office space, but because we have to frequently collaborate on work throughout the day, we are often at each other's desks, and I am a type 1 diabetic. I take insulin and check my blood sugar throughout the day as needed, and I get the insulin through a pump, so that's not an issue. Checking my blood sugar, however, involves pricking my finger to draw a drop of blood, and that blood gets sucked up into a test strip that is connected to a glucose meter, and the meter displays the reading. The whole process takes about 10 seconds. So, I was checking my blood sugar in my office right when James walked over. Immediately, his face went white. He looked like he was about to faint, or puke. Maybe both. So I was like, dude, you okay? And he told me that he has a major blood and needle phobia, and gets therapy for it. I explained what I was doing, and why it was necessary, and he said it was freaky that I have to make myself bleed multiple times a day. He told me that he never wants to accidentally walk in on me checking my blood sugar again, because he could pass out. I said that if I'm checking my blood sugar, and I hear him coming over, I can call out a warning like, "Give me a second." But he said that that wouldn't work. Just knowing that I'm doing that just before he comes over is enough to freak him out, and he would be stressed that I might not hear him walking over. He told me that I should check it in the bathroom from now on, and I told him that I don't think I should have to do that, and it's unsanitary. He said another option was if I only check my blood sugar at certain times, say 9 AM, or 12 PM before eating lunch, and 4 PM. That way, he would know when to avoid me. I said that these things can't be predicted, and I'll need to check if I feel my blood sugar going high or low. He said that he understands that I have diabetes, but that he has a special need that needs to be accommodated, and that he doesn't want to have to avoid me at work, and only talk to Megan for fear that he might see me checking again. He said that he'll talk to HR about this, and that he'll tell them that I refuse to compromise with him. That was last Thursday before the holidays. Tomorrow I'm thinking of going to talk to HR before James does, but first I need to know that I'm in the right here. So, AITA for not being more accommodating of James's blood and needle phobia and checking my blood sugar as needed at my desk. And to add to this, James can't even see me testing my blood sugar unless he's literally standing in my doorway. It's not a communal style workplace, and I don't test in common areas, only in my office. Well, first off, I think the OP is NTA. Having diabetes and having very high or very low blood sugar is a very serious thing. James sounds like an absolute petulant man-child that needs to get his way, and if he doesn't get his way, well then shame on you, wagging finger. The OP offered some compromise and James shut it down. Now yes, the OP could go check it in the bathroom or something, but if they're feeling too woozy, they might not be able to get up. Or, the fact that it's unsanitary, it is a bathroom. I feel like a lot of this could just be remedied by James knocking at the door, "Hey, are you busy?" Because she might even say, yes, she is busy, even if she's not checking her blood sugar. Not to mention that when James didn't get his way, his first reaction is to immediately run to HR and whine. It's kind of a jerk move, man. That's the third story down, only one left to go now. My issues with my in-laws are a bit more complicated than anything else that I've ever dealt with. My sister-in-law has 2 daughters, who are 5 and 7, and I used to babysit for her most of the time. She showed major signs of neglect and lack of love and care for the girls. For example, the girls' dental care and hygiene, education, were all neglected, and my sister-in-law spent little to no time with the girls. From the way they hug me, I could tell that they weren't getting enough affection and care. The girls are close to my husband and their uncle, and he did all he could to help his sister, but he was criticized for being worried about the girls. His sister also got involved in troubles. Authorities got involved and the girls were temporarily placed in our custody, and my husband wanted to adopt them after his sister was no longer able to care for the girls. My in-laws declined and suggested that we all take turns in caring for them and that they belong to their mother. We ended up adopting them. It was an exhausting process, emotionally, physically, and financially draining. My in-laws were mad and called my husband a bad brother and accused him of awful things, like calling him a thief, and said that we went after the girls because we can't have children of our own. We went low on contact with them for over a year, and then we made amends. The mother-in-law loves her grandkids and wants to be in their life, and so far, everyone has been respectful to my husband and I, even though his older sister throws some comments, but I ignore her. I'm currently pregnant. My husband was thrilled to tell his family. And when we were invited for dinner, we made the announcement at the dinner table. My older sister-in-law smirked and said, "Great," then asked when me and my husband were going to give the girls back to their mom, now that we will be having kids of our own, since this is the reason we took the girls in the first place. They said that I would be too busy with my biological kids to care for my nieces, and I was mad. The girls were right next to my husband and heard this. So I argued with my sister-in-law, and the mother-in-law got involved. My husband didn't react at all, so I got ready and walked out with the girls, while he just kept staring at his sister. Then they started arguing. Everyone thought I mishandled it and made it worse. Did you though, OP? Did you really make it worse by walking out and avoiding more drama, especially if you're pregnant? No, I don't think so. Screw these people. Definitely NTA. These people need to be cut out. Permanently. Especially the fact that they want their kids back that you adopted because they were neglecting them. That's a serious thing. The fact that you even amended the bridge to even have dinner with them in the first place is astounding to me. Maybe I'm a jerk, but I would have never given these people even the time of day after any of this crap. But you gave them a second chance, and I don't think some people deserve a second chance. But I have to say, you're definitely a good person for adopting those kids. Well guys, that's all I got for you this time. Hope you enjoyed the stories, and as always, let me know what you guys think in the comments, and have a good one.